Vice presidential candidate JD Vance just embarrassed himself on the runway of all places in Wisconsin. JD Vance's plane had just arrived, as well as the vice president's plane with new VP candidate Tim Walz. Both Kamala Harris and JD Vance had events in Wisconsin today, and it was just by chance that they happened to be on the runway at the same time. And wait until you see what JD Vance did to lose all self-respect. I can't wait to show you guys this moment. JD Vance's vice presidential campaign has gotten off to a rough start. So it's no surprise that he's now trying to shift the focus onto the Kamala Harris and Tim Walz campaign. One talking point that JD Vance has been using lately is that Kamala has not done any interviews or spoken to the press since she became the nominee for the Democratic Party.
Kamala Harris, our border czar, is asking the American people to make her the next president of the United States, and yet for 16 days and counting, the American media has been unable to ask her a question. Now, agree or disagree with me and President Trump, nobody would dispute that we will go anywhere and we will talk to anyone and we will answer any question because we think we owe it to the American people to try to persuade them instead of running from them, and that's what Kamala Harris has done.
Well, it was just 2 weeks ago that Kamala Harris found out she was going to be the nominee for the Democratic Party. So she's been a little busy working on her campaign, selecting a VP nominee. So I'm sure Kamala Harris will gladly do interviews and speak to the press in the near future quite a bit. But it's rich that the Trump campaign is saying that they will do something anytime, anywhere. The last time we heard this was Donald Trump saying he would debate the Democratic nominee anytime, anywhere, any place. But Kamala Harris has said she'll show up to that ABC News debate that Donald Trump agreed to with Joe Biden. But Donald Trump appears to be running scared and now says he'll just do a Fox News debate in an arena full of his fans. So we're going to see what happens with that. But I would relax if I was JD Vance on trying to say they'll do something anytime, any place, because that got them in trouble recently. And that leads us to today's events, where JD Vance had just landed in Wisconsin for an event that he was hosting, and he noticed that Kamala Harris's plane with Tim Walz was right across the runway. Air Force Two had just arrived as well. JD Vance decided to walk over there. Check this out.
Over there? Hannah, can we walk over there?
I've never seen anybody just walking across the runway to go to another plane. It's so awkward. JD Vance heading over to Air Force Two to do who knows what, but watch what happened next. Look at this goofball just waltzing across the runway to go see somebody in another plane. He looks so weird and awkward.
I know you're covering the vice president here. I figured I'd come by and one, just get a good look at the plane. Hopefully it's going to be my plane in a few months. But I also thought you guys might get lonely because the vice president doesn't answer questions from reporters and hasn't for 17 days. Have they given you guys an explanation for why she won't take questions from reporters? No? Nobody? Okay, great.
So he's using this talking point that I mentioned, that she's not taking questions from reporters or doing interviews, and he asks the press outside of her plane, and they just sit there in awkward silence. This is so hard to watch. What a clown.
Well, I hope that she changes her mind. time because it'd be good for the American people, and I think it'd be good for you all if she actually ran a real campaign instead of one from a basement with a teleprompter. So have a good one, guys. See ya.
And look, you can see Kamala's SUV start driving off in the convoy heading out. So why didn't he go up to her car that she was in? Why didn't he go up to the plane? He cowardly just walked up to the press, standing far away from it. So embarrassing.
Hear from her. I'd love her to answer your questions. I'd love her to just answer what she wants to do and also explain why every single position she has changed. She pretends to be a prosecutor, yet she pretends to be a tough on crime prosecutor, and yet here she is wanting to defund the police. She's the bulldozer, yet she's opened up the American southern border. This is a person who has to answer the questions from the media, and it's disgraceful that she runs for you guys. It's also insulting to the American people. But anyway, we're going to go do our event. I appreciate you guys being here. I wish she paid you some more attention. See ya.
This entire stunt stunk of desperation. Watching JD Vance walk across the tarmac with his small entourage as he desperately tries to get the attention of Kamala Harris, but is too scared to walk up to her SUV or the airplane, was just amazing. The energy and excitement is with the Democrats right now. Kamala Harris was probably sitting in her car watching JD Vance and laughing, and as she drove off with her convoy to go to her packed arena to conduct a rally. The Trump campaign is horrifically jealous of the crowds and the excitement that is following the Democratic nominee. Kamala Harris is packing stadiums while JD Vance has a couple of people show up to his event. So it's no surprise that JD Vance wants to try to create some sort of drama and get attention. But it didn't work. Kamala Harris smartly ignored this loser on the runway and just kept going with her business.